Hello, everyone.
Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Chad. I'm going to introduce Dan Flore the third to Stone Soup Poetry. I've been trying to introduce more poets to the group. Stone Soup started all the way back in 1971 by a man named Jack Powers, the late Jack Powers, who passed away in 2010. Stone Soup, since that time, has been in, I think the last count might be 15 to 7 or 17 different locations in the 50 plus year history. Its current location is in the internet world. And in that time, we've managed to reattach and reacquaint and make new acquaintances with people all around the country. And our latest our latest poet in the exchange program that is reading tonight is none other than Dan Flore III himself. I'm going to read his bio in just a second. Just have to drag it up. And I've been paying attention to Dan's work through the various Facebook groups. Also, one of the things that seems to have happened during COVID is that the poetry groups in Facebook have prospered and evolved. Thanks not only thanks to Zoom, but thanks to Facebook's video functions evolving a bit. And Dan, along with a host of other poets, some have made their way here. Some are yet to make their way here. Dan was one of the ones I've been wanting to get here for a while. And I wanted to bring back a little bit of Bukowski injection into Stone Soup. So when I was first coming to Stone Soup and then eventually hosted it, Bukowski and the later beats were a very strong influence. That influence has faded as other people have faded from here, but I still like the Bukowski touch. One of my goals is to find that article by Jack Powers on Bukowski, which he had printed for a zine. I've only read a couple of times, which was also fascinating because it was basically documenting a live reading where I believe Charles Bukowski read until he was all done with his six-pack of Heineken. So at least I hope it was a six-pack. Anyway, so Dan kind of reminds me of that school. It's easy when you know it when you find it. You see it in poets who have come here in the past, like Dan Provost, who was featured in On Ball magazine today, and Frank Reardon, who's been at least a two-time Stone Soup feature, is also a poet and a novelist while working as a butcher last I checked, and doing really well for himself in the small press. Dan, according to his bio, his Dan Flore the third, sorry, his writings have appeared in many publications. His 8 books are Lapping Water, Humbled Wise Men Christmas Haikus, Home and Other Places I've Yet to See, Pink Marigold Rays, that's from Gen Z Publishing, Written in the Dust on the Ceiling Fan from Deadsman Press Inc., another publishing house and a Facebook group of note. Hospital issued writing notebook from Carencia Press, and Apartmentalized from Inspired, and the forthcoming Everything Must Go from Cajun Mutt Press. Dan is never short of a poem or a posting. He shares very generously, and it made me glad to get a book of his. I'm glad he'll be reading from this collection, and also from hopefully his forthcoming collections as well as in the past. He's pretty damn prolific, and we're going to get a good summary of his work today. So put your hands together 30 to 40 times for Dan Flore III.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody. So what I had in mind for tonight was just to have kind of a relaxed reading, to enjoy ourselves. And I'm going to start with a poem from my first book, Lapping Water. It's called The Brook You Gave Me. I knew the forest when it danced for you. Now when I give it my body, the trees stumble and leaves say they don't remember us. I can't drink from the brook you gave me. It tastes too much like you. But I bent down close and listened to the water tell me how it felt to drip from your skin. This next one is called The Defense Pleads Not Guilty. Don't make a film in black and white. They'll say you're trying to be artsy, even though you're only trying to hide the color of your nicotine stained fingers. Speaking of smoking, don't do that either, or they'll say you're trying to be Bogart, even though it takes you a long time to even remember who that is. Don't write gritty poetry, or they'll call you Bukowski, even though you're just a fan, and you critique him for not writing too much, for writing too much about the same stuff. And you know for sure he's had some duds, like we all do. Don't do anything that involves you, or they'll say you're self absorbed, even though you're left to wonder who else you should be. Don't pay much attention to the attack, or you may stoop down on the toilet, but defend yourself. Oh, yes, defend yourself. They're beating you to a literary pulp. But it's okay, though. Even if they do, you like a little of that genre, too. This is called Trashed. It's from Apartmentalized, my latest poetry collection. Wading through dirty clothes rivers, drowning in brown stained underwear in the hope of a better life. Piles of garbage, home sweet home, crushed can headache, cigarette butt fingers, the rotting in the bathroom kitchen decaying, my teeth and my spirit, hearing the traffic of frenzied sharks. This apartment is next to the entrance. I sit on the deck like a gargoyle, a haunted image for all those who pass by, deadly and without sense. The rent's been paid in blood. The amenities are morbid cartoons. The lights were turned off. I didn't notice any difference. A haunted cat roams the trash. Is this a dumpster or an apartment? Am I homeless or sheltered? I can't tell the difference. The toilet has overflowed and possessed water is running out into the street. We scream in its current, riding it like kids on a slip and slide. Sirens seducing us into the ER. Our apartment has been dumped upside down. I dangle from a lamp. For dinner, we eat the renter's insurance and start a fire with our big screen TV. We warm ourselves by it by telling stories of what it was like to be alive when we first moved in. All right. Uh, I thought Apartmentalized needed a love poem, so my wife was on the deck talking to me, and this was born. It's called Switzerland. She dreams of Switzerland, saw pretty pictures of it on Facebook. She puts herself there from her sickbed in this sick apartment. Switzerland, I don't know much about it. For her sake, I wish she was there. She deserves the beauty. She's been sick for so long. Switzerland might just have the fresh air she needs. Everything here is so stale. Yeah, Switzerland sounds good, especially when she talks about it. I'm gonna flip to the actually the introduction to Apartmentalized. It's a poem in itself. Um, I'm apartmentalized. Rent blows. So does a wicked wind through amenities I never use but pay for. The landlord owns me. I'm just renting myself from him. This complex filled with endless miles of carpeting stained from the previous renters, which rose out of the floor like a mass of anarchy clouds. I'll be charged for the cleaning of them. It will be taken out of my security deposit, which I lost forever as soon as I made it. I installed a new jacuzzi, new windows, new gutter, and sent the bill to the office. I got a reverse mortgage on my apartment. Can't breathe, thin walls. I know all the neighbors' favorite TV shows. I have post traumatic apartment syndrome. I'm stuck in a shoebox of a unit piled on top of and squished between other shoeboxes. Oh, rats. Oh, bed bugs. Oh, roaches. Oh, fruit flies. The lease is broken, so is my soul wandering the apartment. I'm apartmentalized. So I'm going to put that book down for a second. Thank you, guys. I'm going to skip over to Written in the Dust on the Ceiling Fan, is the name of this book. And this is called The Fattest Guy at the Pool. I remember being a little kid and staring at the fattest guy at the pool. What a brat. Well, anyway, justice is served because now he's me. I'm sure the kids calling each other retard have snuck a sneak peek at this stupid gut that has just gone out of control recently. It was enough to almost make me want to not go to the pool, but I did. When I jumped in, the lifeguard said that looked like total relief. And it was a total baptism of the dead leaves that sat in the pool water all winter and floated around in my head. My fat belly even fell off. I'm glad she said that too, because I may not have noticed otherwise. And I like how she said it, that in this dead yellow grass world, sitting in the sun like dried piss, total relief is still possible. Heating up the car. I want to grow up like my dad, planning to leave my wife with my mistress waiting in the gravel driveway at dusk. It would be January, and I'd be running out the back door with my bags and a cigarette falling out of my mouth. I'd have a 30 pack of condoms and a bottle of white wine. I'd get in the car and say, I want to get the hell out of here. She'd start the engine, and I'd reach in the glove box and blow my head off with my father's 45. Here's a small poem called Ink Spill. She spread her legs open a little with her pen and let me fill in the spaces. Bullshit writers. A lot of writers say they write for themselves. If they are, then why am I reading their shit? This poem is called Marla's Pall Malls. She used to sit on her bed with a pack of Pall Malls on a TV tray, and she'd go outside in an old t-shirt and short shorts to smoke. She'd wince at me and say, when are you going to shave that shit off your face? You're such a handsome boy, Danny. And I'd rub my face and feel ugly and beautiful at the same time. This one's kind of a fun poem for me. I always like reading it. I hope you guys like hearing it. Um, it's called Seriously, Brah, She Wants It. Yeah, she looks really happy, brah, sitting there bored as hell on her phone. She needs a man like me just off my bike with my long hair gliding like the way I ride. Is this how you treat your lady, brah? Just let her sit there while you write in that notepad? You think she won't look at me, brah? Wait till I take my shirt off. You think Facebook in your jelly belly is gonna keep her from looking? Your lady's about to drink up my six pack, brah. Ah, there we go. Yeah, she's looking. When are you gonna realize your lady be looking at men like me all the time? You're living in a fantasy world, brah. She sees men like me and wishes for them. Maybe I'll come down there and give her a better look. Just walk by, say hi as I pass your table. Make her night since you haven't made her night in a long time. You can't give her what she desires, so she looks elsewhere. That's when I show up and tame her beast a little. And all this time you thought she was happy with you? Look at her looking. Bet you don't have the balls to look up from that notebook and see if she's looking at me, brah. Uh, falling asleep to an imagined pretty girl. I need to fall asleep to the thought of a pretty girl. The world is gross and doesn't care. The TV mutilates. My vomit comes out before I can get to the toilet. It's always time for my pills. People get out of their cars like assassins, but the pretty girl brings toasted English muffins, already buttered, gold to my bedside. She is something unsoiled through the sickness. And when she bends down just before I sleep to kiss me on the forehead into the dream of her beauty, She is such a divine vision that I think I may not wake, and I'm okay with it. Uh, Clippings of bad poetry. There's clippings of bad poetry all over the deck, where I thought up and discarded many lines. I have to stack them up and put them in the dumpster before they end up in a poem. All right, this poem closes out, uh, written in the dust on a ceiling fan. It's called Needing a Glass of Water and Following the Curve of Your Collarbone South. I need dense text, heavy panting, flowers thrown in the creek. I want to go back to Cochranville for a week when it's summer and I can sleep down on a row of corn. I need sleep. I need the smell of you frying bacon for your incredible potato soup. I need a new old car to beat around in with a tape deck for that hiss that lullabies me to sleep and thumps like an urban boombox that makes the street vibrate. I need this to be published in heaven. I want to go there and win the lottery. I want brick and mortar. I want my cat sleeping in her cove bed, undisturbed by the sounds of the city, except for the ones that help her sleep, like maybe the train that I want to hop on to hear the tracks and follow them back to the beginning of where it all went wrong. I don't want to die, but I want to go to heaven. I want to reach into the bottom of this can of peaches poem and get the syrup all over the page. The sticky kind that smells like sugar. I want to smear it into a simile like a masterstroke. I want to feel you feeling me. Take your top off, let your boobs sag. I won't look. I need an iced tea and an oatmeal cookie that won't hurt my teeth. Have you ever looked the wrong way and said, screw it, I'm turning around? That's what I'm doing. I'm going back into the sunlight. I need a can of beer to throw up in the air and watch explode on the cement. Did you dream you were talking to the dying? I thought I was guiding a guy on his deathbed to heaven. I'd say things like, look at the exhaust. You're not going to miss that, are you? But right now, I even love exhaust, the fumes from a muffler on a cold night driving out of this. I need you to say something profound, something I've never heard. Be my Oscar winning movie and my swim trunks in some new river where I'm swimming with the dogs. Freshen it up. Take the clock off the wall, fold it in half, break it in two, and put some turkey and mustard on there and eat time as it eats us up. Right now, it just hangs around there on the wall, and you just wish it would go. Go, 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 go. I need the Kool-Aid man just so I can tell him I don't want to add sugar. But he's still cool anyway, even if he doesn't want to do it. I need you. I need me. I need some sort of ending, maybe like this one. Uh, this is another favorite of mine. It's from Hospital Issued Writing Notebook, another book of mine. It's called Grace and I in late summer 1999. Grace was a nursery rhyme, a lullaby in the daytime. She was there after I got out of the hospital from my first nervous breakdown. Naps with her in the afternoon when I was so tired, and I got so tired. We were in my parents' bed with the dresser and the best bedstand snoozing with us, the green outside the window so quiet. We sat at picnic tables, and I'd read to her about pretty demons that were seducing me even more than she was. She rocked me like a baby with her words. The summer was swaying back and forth above us, just like a hammock with a good book. I had a habit of self punishment, and I'd burn myself with cigarettes. She'd see me sometimes and say, Dan, what are you doing? Like a mother figure. And I'd pull the cigarette away from my skin like a child who just got caught. Her long pillow blonde hair that I would rest my head on, her ocean lull blue eyes. She was the only one my parents would allow to be with me when they weren't around. We could trust Grace, her tiny hand in mine, bird singing gentleness. She could tuck me away in the tuft below her wings. She's been gone for a very long time, but her figure still stands over me. Her hand is still on my forehead, nurturing me in my sickness through the sweetness of her memory. I guess I'll close things out here. Um, one last poem. Hallucinating while my friend smokes pot and looks at me like I'm Jesus. I see things that aren't there. My friend thinks it's cool, says I'm a poet having visions, but I'm sick and they're hallucinations. So I wish he would just shut the hell up about how awesome it is. But he doesn't. He just goes on and on. You're like Ginsberg and Yates. Visions, man. You got to heal the tribe. Come on, Lizard King. What visions are you seeing? I'm sick, you jerk, I say, and I ask him to leave, but I don't get him out. God, it's hard to get a hallucination to go away. Thank you all. Thank you for your time and listening. Thanks.
Give it up for Dan Flore the third. And do you know when the next book is coming out?
We haven't set a date yet. It's going to be it's flash fiction. It's my first flash fiction book.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Well, definitely give us notice. And you've already joined the Stone Soup group this past few days. So we'll look forward to hearing from, we'll look forward to hearing the news. And of course, you can check out Dan's work regularly on Facebook, not just on his own personal Facebook page, but also in several groups like Dead Man's Press, Dirty Kids Press, and many, many more. So we appreciate him for that. Between him and JJ Stick, they write anthologies just every week. So it's impressive, and I'm glad you're here. I hope you stick around for the open mic.
I definitely want to. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be nice.
Fantastic. Fantastic. And we're going to start, as I said, Richard Spizak is back. And if you want to start off the open mic, sir, you're more than welcome to.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It's an honor to be among such fine poets. I have a couple little pieces for you. Hopefully you'll find them amusing and perhaps even edifying. First thing to talk about is many of you may know that in America here we're having a debate tomorrow night where possibly two political parties are contending, offering us the current choices. So this is my hats off tribute to the Supreme Court, so-called. Absolute immunity. Such raging impunity beyond Emperor Charlemagne's sympathetic congruity. As he sits and occasionally shits on his golden throne, he flies from Mar-a-Lago to Bangor, Maine. Old King John hoped for such similar largesse, but who's surprised? Drummond caused exactly and precisely this kind of mess. He announced from the very beginning he only likes elections when he's guaranteed winning. He initially and suspiciously announced to a paid group of actors he'd cashier the Constitution. It just wasn't a factor. Promoting lawlessness, you've seen his criminal cronies. He'll strip down the justice system right down to the bare bonies. He announced he's constrained by no actual law. He'd do any crime, take anyone's time, steal anything he saw. Not only will the people let it pass, but he thinks no more of killing a human being than passing some gas. The ancient paradigm, how to contain the royals. Not only will they do whatever they want, if there's anything left, they'll steal all the spoils. They'll steal all the cash in any trade deal. He wants to grab it all, and you better not squeal. He's prepared to commit any crime because he's divinely selected. He thinks it's his time, and his sons and his daughters simply biding their time. They expect the throne will fall in their hands unless we get out and vote. Any democracy can foil their plans. They denounce voting without any evidence, and will try again to derail democracy with January 6th as a violent precedence. Immunity. And then this, hopefully a slightly more amusing, but again on the same topic of skunks. This is called 5 Skunks on My Porch. I've got 5 skunks on my porch. They might very well leave you in the lurch, not exactly a trip to the local church. We opened the door to feed the cat, and what did we saw? We were feeding that? A family of skunks all over the porch. They were rolling and tumbling all in a lurch. A cat, cool as cucumber, observed it all from high above on her perch. She observed it all in disinterested amusement. The skunks were scrambling and snuffling as we watched them through the doorway in bewildered confusement. We keep a squirt gun by the door to shoo off the errant neighbor cat from dining on our kitty smorgasbord, so there's that. So But should we squirt the errant skunk who might live behind their awful funk? Or should we let them forage at will with panache, lest our cat food continually be their luncheon snash? My wife leapt out and gave 'em a squirt, letting the powerful stream of water do its work. So surprised were they tumbled away with evidently nothing more to say. 5 skunks on my porch. And then last, I want to leave you in a better humor. So this is called, and I warn you, my friends, this is called the uses of humor. When it's said, or you suspect that all your plans are gone and wrecked, when you're sad, mad, glad, parenthetically had, or by something evil or not quite bad, you may stutter and stammer too. You're in a jam, do you? Reached at length for something potent like a ducal region or a simply missing museum docent, grab a hold of something rash. I'm not talking bags of cash or sitting cross-legged smoking bowls of pungent Turkish hash or some such spice that makes your pleasure soar or roar down the gleaming canyon slick as glacier ice. I'm suggesting, even insisting, that you measure another dollop out, and when you whisper or you shout, grab yourself a hearty laugh, and sure you'll cut your woes in half. Cut them, splice them, mince them very, drown them in a steaming cup of berry, pull their leg and tug their hair. You might find a generous touch of merriment there. For when they've got you in a box or the holes have worn through both shoes and socks, lean right back and give a chuckle, even though it might just bend your strongest buckle. All these things so tough and stringy, no more than a pretty propeller on your beanie, or a small mustache painted over that picture of the Master Don. Give yourself a hearty laugh, and sure, by the clover in your garden, you'll cut your woes in half. I bid you, my friends, cut your woes in half. Thank you.
Thank you, Richard. And up next from the Renator 5000, we're going to give it over to Miss Jan Rowe.
This is something I wrote today after hearing about Assange made it back to Australia. It's called Formerly Fatso Pompeo. I fell briefly into name calling, despite touching memories of my 5-year younger brother's friend, Stinky Dinky, obese, motherless, resident with his dad at the Pennsylvania Hotel before it exploded. Oh, Pompeo, Trump's head of CIA, Secretary of State. Pompeo's spouse kept the staff on late into the holiday, making them write their Christmas cards. Formerly Fatso Pompeo, who as CIA had illegally spied upon Julian Assange at the Ecuadorian embassy. He had to have gotten a gastric bypass. Lied, said exercise and diet. Yeah, right, accounted for that weight loss. You can't lie about a gastric bypass in overweight USA. So Pompeo, when he was CIA head, he wanted to assassinate Assange. British M5, their CIA said no. So name calling is suspect, suggests evasion, hiding something childish. I have a memory of being reprimanded for calling someone queer when a young child called across one-way 2nd Street, Brownsville, PA. I had no idea the meaning, so I shouldn't call him Fatso Pompeo, despite the rhyme. Thank you. That's not nice. That's not nice, is it?
Oh. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Jen. And let's see who we go to next. Let's go to Mark States.
Separated. Bright sun shined in through the space between faded yellow window curtain and off-white stucco walls. It was a corner room that caught both morning and afternoon sun. So by 3 or 4 in the spring and summer, that room became an oven.
Hmm.
The sun was a heated lamp light aimed at my head, resting on a pillow, laying down in bed, or should I say grill? All these questions till I was bubbling with sweat. Why am I here? Why is this happening? Even though I was innocent. Outside, under the sun, they are talking, laughing, and calling out my name. This room is a cage for an outsider stuck inside. And they have the freedom to play with my emotions as I swelter from their abuse. The sun beat on and on like a drumstick on a cymbal. I had all the time in the world. Each moment was another's hour. Each thought a step down the ladder into a hole where flashlights and matches are prohibited, just to sit in the dark and be alone, quiet, peaceful, no more heat. They say to live is to forgive. They did not have communion with the shoe bottom of their innermost thoughts, nor endure the heat in a yellow room, thirsty for affection like a dust-crusted tongue. They never have an answer for the question of she who created laws against each of my flaws. She who left me there. The son sentenced for the sins of his father.
Thank you, Mark. I'd like to pass the mic over to Mary Ann Honaker.
Hello. This is a plea to Ozzy Osbourne. I heard the coy wolf howl, pebbles tumbling over other pebbles, a yip as if made by a small dog, stretching wide as a woman scream in a horror flick, until the dogs, frogs, crickets, cicadas, even the plush thump of the moss body against the screen door fall silent. Every night as I try to sleep, in my head clear as a radio, Ozzy plaintively sings, "Mama, I'm coming home." No, no, I say to the dark, as if Ozzy, like a coy wolf, could emerge from it any time, like the juvenile I saw trotting through the fog that curtained the road home. But Ozzy persists, the soft guitars pulsing through me, mauling. I may be right, I may be wrong. It hurts so bad, it's been so long. He isn't coming home, Ozzy, you old liar. eater of bad heads, live on stage without catching any sort of plague. It is I who have seen his face 1,000 times, every day we've been apart. I may, like the coy wolf, bark at the moon one night when all the wine is in my belly, bark until it becomes a scream that stops everything. The breeze, the trees that would sigh in it, the firefly paused mid-light, a stationary lantern, the moon in its waxing and waning and waxing, the cat who is just now stepping into her little round bed, and somewhere waves would become stuck mid-crash, still as glass, and my love mid-laugh with his wife, all teeth, all paused like a movie that pauses but cannot be rewound. Ozzy, stop singing. He's not coming home. That's all.
Okay, Mary. What do we have next? Oh, Robert Fleming, I'll give you the permissions to share the screen. Although why am I not seeing the permissions? Give me 1 second. Maybe I need to expand. No. Oh, here we are. You're good.
Thank you. Good evening. I'm Robert Fleming, a visual poet from Lewis, Delaware. Tonight, I'm calling out for the Stone Soup Players to do another cold reading of a love scene from Gone with the Wind between Scarlett and Rhett. And I'm going to set the stage by showing the pictures, a few pictures from the scene. This is a scene between Scarlett and Rhett just after Scarlett's first husband died in the Civil War, and she is in mourning wearing black and desperate to have some color. Rhett Butler buys her this bonnet, which is green. And this is a picture of them together after he just gave her the bonnet. And here she is wearing the bonnet. And I was hoping, since last time, James was a wonderful Rhett, if he would reprieve his role as Rhett Butler. Would you do that for us, James? Wonderful. And I was wondering, Jane, whether you'd be willing to read Scarlett for us.
I can't do it as good as Bill Lewis, though.
Yes, but you're here, and the
That's-
show must
Oh,
go
God.
on.
True. That's true.
We're the
Bill
best of
Lewis
what's
is
we're the best of
understudy.
what's left, Jan.
So let me go ahead and put the script on the screen.
Are we, yeah.
So I will read the stage directions, and we will have Jan as Scarlett and James as Rhett. Camera is now back and reveals Rhett in a chair, watching Scarlett as she looks delightfully at the bonnet she has taken out of the box.
Oh, Rhett, it's lovely, lovely. You didn't really bring it all the way from Paris just for me. Oh,
Yes, I thought it was time I got you out of that fake mourning. Next trip, I'll bring you some green silk for a frock to match it.
oh, Rhett.
He takes out a cigar from a new case as he talks.
It's my duty to the brave boys at the front to keep the girls at home looking pretty.
Scarlett runs towards the mirror with the bonnet, talking as she goes.
Oh, it's so long since I've had anything new.
She stands on a hassock to more easily see herself in the mirror, gurgles with delight, then to play a trick on Rhett, puts the bonnet on backwards and turns to him.
How do I look?
Awful, just awful.
Why, what's the matter?
Rhett yanks off the bonnet off her head and readjusts it.
This war stopped being a joke when a girl like you doesn't even know how to wear the latest fashions.
Oh,
Rhett catches the mischievous look on her face and realizes what she's been up to. He laughs and Scarlett laughs with him.
oh, Red, let me do it.
She turns, looks again into the mirror, and finishes trying the bow. Turns back, suddenly remembering.
But Red, I don't know how I'll dare to wear it.
She lifts her skirts to get down from the hassock, exposing a little of her pantalettes.
You will, though, and another thing, those pantalettes. I don't know a woman in Paris that wears pantalettes anymore.
Oh, what do they? You shouldn't talk about such things.
You little hypocrite. You don't mind my knowing about them. Just my talking about them.
But Red, I can't keep on accepting these gifts from you. Although you are awfully kind.
I'm not kind. I'm just tempting you. I never give anything without expecting something in return. I will always get paid.
Well, if you think I'll marry you just to pay for the bonnet, I won't.
I'm not a marrying man.
Well, I won't kiss you for it either.
She looks at him provocatively and flirtatiously. Rhett catches her by the arm. She closes her eyes and looks as if ready to be kissed. Rhett puts his arms around her. Then, when it looks as though we were about to go into a hot love scene,
Open your eyes and look at me. No, I don't think I will kiss you.
he releases Scarlett to her embarrassment and rage. It's still Rhett, although you need
I
kissing.
don't think I will kiss you. Although you need kissing badly. That's what's wrong with you. You should be kissed and often and by someone who knows how.
And I suppose you think you're the proper person?
I might be if the right moment ever came.
You're a black-hearted, conceited varmint, and I don't know why I let you come in here to see me.
I'll tell you why, Scarlett, because I'm the only man over 16 and under 60 who's around to show you a good time. But cheer up. The war can't last much longer.
Oh, really, Red? Why?
There's a little battle going on right now that ought to pretty well fix things. One way or the other.
Oh, Red, tell me, is Ashley in it?
So you still haven't gotten the wooden-headed Mr. Wilkes out of your mind. Yes,
Picking up his hat disgustingly.
yes, I suppose he's in it.
Oh, but tell me, Red, please, where is it?
Some little town in Pennsylvania called Gettysburg.
He exits, closing the door after him, dissolves into. Thank you for the Stone Soup players tonight and recreating one of the classic love scenes from Gone with the Wind.
Oh.
And now we're never gonna hear it. We're never gonna not hear it from Bill for Jan taking his role.
I'm wondering, since you are a couple, whether you would give us that kiss that Rhett and Scarlett didn't have.
Well, it was a weird kiss, wasn't it? I mean, that's how it looked in the scene. She was just kind of edging into it.
Oh, I was hoping for something a little more tender.
Oh, tender. Yeah, we need to kiss more often.
Thank you.
You remind yourself that after 35 years sometimes. Keep kissing.
Thank you, Jan. Thank you, James. Thank you, Robert. Up next, let's go to, I hope the next chapter of Hammer X Machina, Mr. John Wessick.
Yes. So, it's really hard to find stolen uranium. But not only that, FBI agent Claire Danforth has to deal with a husband who beats her, a son who's a neo-Nazi, and a partner who's got the hots for her. So let's continue with Sledgehammer Ex Machina. What happened to you? Amatori asked. Oh, I walked into a door. Evidently the makeup didn't cover a black eye as well as Danforth thought. It's going to get worse, Ned apologized, bought flowers, and promised to never do it again. Marriage is hard work, Nick. Want me to talk to him? Amatori touched the pistol on his hip. No. Tears flooded Danforth's eyes. I just want someone to hold me. Nothing says romance like Motel 11. The queen-size beds, plastic coffee machine, sign with the checkout time, and clank of the ice machine through thin walls provided the pampering Danforth craved. After a dozen athletic rounds of lovemaking, she and Amatori snacked on peanut butter crackers and caught the last half of Sleepless in Seattle on cable. I suppose that missing uranium isn't going to find itself. Danforth reached for her bra and panties. You deserve better than him, Claire. It could be like this every day if you left him. It's complicated, Nick. Danforth finished dressing. I'm going to get some more crackers. She opened the door a crack and froze. In the doorway of a room across the hall, Ned Jr. was French kissing a woman who looked like she was on a day pass from the nursing home. Huge turquoise rings camouflaged her wrinkled fingers, but nothing could cover up the skin that sagged like a bloodhound's jowls. Danforth's nails dug into her palms as she clenched her fist. She wanted to give that granny a piece of her mind, but how could she explain her afternoon tryst with Amatori? After dipping fingers into Ned Jr.'s trousers as if trying to retrieve an engagement ring that fell into a urinal, the cougar handed him a wad of 20s. Not only was Ned Jr. a neo-Nazi and rent boy, but he'd left the house after Danforth grounded him. Danforth dragged Amatori to the parking lot so she could observe the cougar leaving from the car. What's going on? Amatori asked. Shh! Danforth watched the woman get into a silver gray Lexus. Keeping a few car lengths behind, she followed her out of the lot and onto the Lincolnhurst Expressway. Dispatch, Danforth said over the radio. I need you to run a plate. Mike Lima Foxtrot, 669er. Dispatch, Mike Lima Foxtrot 669er belongs to Amanda Bellicose, address 155 Park Avenue. Danforth dropped back. The woman paying her son with sex was her boss's wife. Danforth parked in the V Gates lot. She and Amatori presented their credentials in the lobby and took an elevator to the 24th floor. We're here to see George Snood. Danforth showed the receptionist her badge. Mr. Snood is a very busy man. Do you have an appointment? Danforth shook her head. Hey, you can't go in there! The receptionist yelled when Danforth and Amatori barged into Snood's office. Snood and a woman wearing shoulder pads that would put Tom Brady to shame leaned over a table examining fabric swatches. With his shaved head, Nehru jacket, and polyester slacks, he could have been one of Ned Sr.'s 2 or 3 customers. I suggest something daring for the curtains, maybe a mauve or magenta, the woman said. Excuse me, Mr. Snood? Amatori showed his badge. That's Dr. Snood. I didn't spend 6 years in graduate school to be called doctor. Thank you very much. Dr. Snood, Danforth said. Claire Danforth, FBI, and this is Nick Amatori from NCIS. We're investigating a matter of national security. Millions of lives are at stake, and we could sure use your help. Do you know who I am? George Snood, VP of V. Gates's nuclear division, Amatori answered. Get Belair on the phone, Snood barked Get Belair in here, Snood barked over the phone. Faster than a pop-up ad appears when researching current events, a man in a pinstripe suit entered the office. He wore glasses, carried a briefcase, and had hair graying at the temples. I'm Augusta Blair, Dr. Snood's attorney. He's not answering questions right now. If you don't leave, I'll sue you for harassment. Do you know who he is? Bellicose shouted. Vice President of V. Gates's nuclear division, Danforth replied. He's not only a VP, but a VIP. He eats lunch with Bob Eubanks, has Pat Sajak in his Rolodex, and is so rich he doesn't care that Rolodexes are out of style. That's who. Bellicose walked from behind his desk to tower over Danforth. I can't have you annoying the rich and powerful just to go on a fishing expedition. Sir, it seemed reasonable to interview the man in charge of the company that lost the uranium. Reasonable? I'm beginning to have serious doubts about your competence to lead this investigation. Danforth, what do you have on the American Red Cross? The Red Cross? Think about it, Danforth. Who benefits from a nuclear disaster? The Red Cross, that's who. After a city gets wiped out, donations will go through the roof. Oh, I've had my eyes on them for decades. Their so-called charity doesn't fool me. I'm ordering you to make the Red Cross your chief suspect. Now get back to work. To be continued.
TBC. Thank you, John. And I'm going to ask Jeff Taylor if he's willing to read for us tonight. Might not be able to get to his mic or his phone right now. Work calls, as he said in the chat. So we'll bring it now over to our musical interlude with Mr. Ethan Mackler.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ethan. It looks like Jeff Taylor had to leave us. If he's able to come back, he can. But if he's able to come back, he will. But I think it's now time to bring it to our closer for this open mic, and that would be James Van Looy. Check out his column at oddballmagazine.com. It's all one thing, featured every Thursday morning at 11 a.m. without fail. Mr. Van Looy?
Hello. So I've got here, I have here a Mother's Day poem. On Mother's Day. The Holy Mother, a black virgin, face in shadow, backlit like wings, has a split in her dark wooden base. Just like the baptismal font, now kept in the undercroft of cathedral, someone pushed over, we still wonder on purpose, that put a big dent there in its lip. And who is the mother without child? And where are the children without the mother? And we're all sitting together here in the new daylight that now falls through the high skylight just down onto the marble tile floor labyrinth, this feminist symbol winding to center of the now bright open cathedral space. Spinoza Christ, spare, nothing but space, endless space. Then here's a song to go with it. Oh, you beautiful doll, you great big beautiful doll. Let me put my arms around you. I could never live without you. Oh, you beautiful doll, you great big beautiful doll. If you ever leave me, how my heart will ache. I want to hug you, but I fear you'd break. Oh, 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 you beautiful doll. Thank you.
Thank you, James. And after a wonderful feature, and a great good open mic, I was wondering if Dan might want to provide us with one or two encore pieces to send us home.
Yeah, I can do that. Sure.
Awesome.
You guys feel like it. Let me grab something here. I wrote this at Christmas time. It's called The Virgin Mary Cuts My Hair. And I still remember what this hairdresser looked like. The Virgin Mary cuts my hair. I never looked in the mirror to see what her name was, but the way she leaned over me made it seem like she was hovering. She should have been dressed in a shroud of gold, not her Gap sweater, though it smelled like an orchard. Her long streaks of brown hair hung in my face as I looked into the easy current of her eyes. She talked of how everyone wants to see her at Christmas time. And I came in from the street, dirty and ragged. It was still daytime, but my eyes were somewhere in the night sky. As I rested my head in the sink, her little fingers slowly rubbing in the shampoo, the pop music on the radio melted into a hymn. And all I could do was stare up at the fluorescent lights above her, like a man looking at the sun for the first time. Thanks.
Thank you, Dan. And thanks to everyone who came out tonight. Thanks to everyone who's been coming out all of June, even for the lack of features, and hopefully another feature will be announced for July 3rd. There will be a 1-week sabbatical the week of July 10th, and we'll return for the 17th with a to be announced, hopefully to be announced feature. More will be announced, and as soon as I hear yeses and nos from people. So thank you again so much, Dan, and I'll put a link to your book, Apartmentalized, which is available on Amazon and other places. And that's from Inspired, which has put out a lot of a few good books lately, a lot of good books actually. And I hope to feature more from that press, as well as more people from the various Facebook groups I've been following, maybe even from some of the Dead Man's Press people.
That'd be
Aside from
cool.
Dan. That would be great. And so stay tuned for more announcements. There'll be some submission opportunities announced at the Stone Soup website over at Facebook, and more features to be had. I'll let you know more when they know more and I know more. So again, we do the obligatory wave, and check out the Stone Soup video that's coming out tomorrow on YouTube. Of course, you can play this back, but the YouTube link is sometimes cooler to share. I don't know, seems more official. That'll be coming out hopefully between 8:30 and 9 o'clock tomorrow. And thank you guys very much. More news coming, and have yourselves an excellent evening. Thank you again, Mr. Dan Flore III.
Thank you.